Morning, boys and girls. Let's review what we did last week for science, okay? We started by talking about weathering and how weathering can change rocks over time, okay? This is usually through a process of water freezing and thawing. Freezing means becoming a solid, thawing means getting warmer and becoming softer. In this case, the liquid water, the solid water turns back into a liquid because the rocks water takes up more space when it's frozen. When it freezes into the rocks like it is here, okay, it actually makes the cracks bigger. Okay, so that's what weathering does, and as rocks get more and more cracks on them, pieces of them will break away. Then we talked about erosion. Erosion is another way that water and wind can change land over time. Okay, so if we look at the picture of this lighthouse, when they built this lighthouse, it wasn't at the edge of this cliff. But because the water and the wind keep hitting the rocks, it takes pieces of the rock away over time. And to save this lighthouse, they're eventually going to have to move it or kind of just say, let it fall naturally into the ocean. So usually when erosion happens, it's when solid soil, rocks, or sand are moved. Wind, water, and glaciers. Glaciers are large pieces of ice on land, okay? Usually a glacier will carve valleys. I'll upload some pictures of glaciers that I've seen or that I found online to show you that they are on land. They are not, sometimes they're floating on the ocean, but when we're talking about them in this sense, we're talking about them over land and causing the rubbing that moves rocks and carves out, like kind of makes those valleys between mountains. Today, we are going to talk about soil, how soil can move around. And it says, why does it matter? Okay. So soil moves around. Soil is a fancy word for dirt, okay? And it's soil is made of tiny rocks, dead animal and plant matter that's broken down in the soil. Erosion can ruin fields and forests by taking away soil the plant needs. But soil is washed away from one place to another. But soil that is washed away from one place can help plants in another place. Okay. So as you look at this picture at the bottom, you can see the roots of the tree. And the reason why is because the water has eroded. That's a form of the word erosion. That's it's not working. The past tense of it. To erode or eroded, that is the verb. Erosion is a noun. Water has eroded soil from the riverbank. These trees may soon fall. So the river's motion carries the soil downstream. This leaves less soil for the plants growing here. So that's why you can see all these roots here, okay? And eventually, as the river slowly over time erodes more and more of the soil away, the tree can either die, the tree can fall into the river itself. It depends. A couple of things could happen there. As the river flows between its banks, soil and rocks are swept along. The water carries them downstream. Now, there is less soil on the riverbanks. Riverbanks are where the ground meets the river. Tree roots may be uncovered. Plants that need the soil may be affected. Without the support of their roots anchored in deep soil, the trees may fall, and that's the danger. But soil that is washed away from a riverbank ends up somewhere else. Yeah, it doesn't just disappear, not abracadabra magic, it's gone. It has to go somewhere. Where does it go? Great question. As a river nears the ocean, the water moves more slowly. Rocks and soils in the river are dropped. This process makes a landform called a delta. A river delta is full of rich soil. So over here, that's what they're showing you, okay? This is kind of like a delta. As the river meets the ocean, the water slows. So the rock is not going to push the soil and the rocks as much, and it's left behind. Over time, the rocks and soils form a delta. The rich soil of the river's delta is a great place for plants to grow because that soil has a lot of nutrients in it, good for plants. Okay. So I'll upload some pictures of deltas onto the assignment. Okay. Um, and I'm also going to include an question and answer document for you to try to solve for this week's science assignment. Okay, boys and girls, look for that, and I will talk to you later. Bye.